The meeting room pulsed. My slides were sharp, confident. I was nailing this. Then Derek stood, his eyes gleaming with a malice I hadn't seen before. Jacob leaked client data, he boomed. I've got proof emails, logs. The CEO's face, just moments ago impressed, darkened. That's a lie. I stammered, my voice sounding weak even to me. But Derek was already sliding forged papers across the polished table. Whispers erupted, spreading like wildfire. Security, get him out, the CEO barked, not even looking at me. You're done, Jacob. 2 guards seized my arms. The humiliation was instant, searing. I was dragged past my shocked colleagues, their faces a blur of pity and fear. At the door, I twisted my head back. Derek was sliding into my chair, a smirk on his face like a king claiming a throne. The heavy door slammed, the click echoing in the hallway. Outside, the rain hit me instantly, drenching me in seconds. My career, everything I'd clawed my way up for, gone. From intern to top performer, all burned down by Derek's jealousy. Rent. Loans. How would I survive? My heart pounded, rage finally replacing the shock. Derek thought he'd won. He thought he'd stolen my life. But betrayal lit a fire. This wasn't over. I gripped the wheel of my car, vowing to return stronger. That smirk would fade. A plan sparked. If you're watching this, subscribe, like and let me know where you're watching from. I slumped on my couch, the firing replaying in my head, a nightmare on loop. My phone was silent. Not one call from a coworker. No, are you okay? No, what the hell? Just silence. Then, Mom. Her voice came soft. You worked so hard, son. What happened? The tears I'd been holding back burned. Derek framed me, Mom, I choked out. He stole my job. Her sigh was heavy, carrying the weight of all my sacrifices, the late nights, the missed family dinners. Don't let him win, she urged. I nodded, though she couldn't see me. Despair clawed deep. My career, built from nothing, lay in shattered pieces. Derek's betrayal stung worse than the job loss. Why? Because I had outshone him. I closed the deals he botched. Now, unemployed, the future was a dark, looming void. Bills piled on the coffee table, unpaid. I grabbed a soda, staring at the water-stained ceiling. He took everything, I whispered, my voice cracking. The tears fell, raw and hot. But as I wiped my face, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. You were set up. Meet me at Elm Street Cafe tomorrow. Alone. My pulse spiked. A trick? Or a lifeline? Resolve hardened like steel. Derek's victory wouldn't last. Tomorrow, I'd get answers. The apartment felt like a cage. I paced, the memory of Derek's smug grin fueling my anger. The soda can crumpled in my fist. Rent was due. My savings wouldn't last. How? The text glowed. Who was it? Doubt gnawed, but so did curiosity. I wouldn't let it end here. Morning light filtered into Elm Street Cafe. I scanned the crowd, my nerves frayed. A young woman in the corner waved nervously. Lila, a junior analyst. I barely knew her. I couldn't stay quiet, she said, her voice so low I had to lean in. Derek paid me to fake those emails. The ones pinning the leak on you. My jaw tightened. Why me? Lila leaned even closer, her eyes darting around. You were better than him. He was afraid you'd take his spot. She'd been eaten by guilt ever since, and she'd done something about it. She'd recorded Derek's instructions. I have proof, she whispered, sliding a small USB drive across the table. My hands shook as I took it. Recordings, the original email templates, Derek's voice plotting my downfall. The betrayal burned hotter, not just by Derek, but by a company that let this happen. "He's dangerous," Lila said, standing suddenly. "Be careful." She left, blending into the morning crowd. Back in my apartment, I plugged the drive in. Files loaded. I clicked one. Derek's voice, cold and scheming, "Make it look real. I want him gone by noon." Evidence. Sharp as a blade. But using it now risked everything. Derek's reach was long. I immediately backed up the files to a secure cloud drive. The pain of my erasure fueled me. Lila's warning echoed, but so did hope. I had a weapon. This wasn't just revenge. It was justice. I opened my laptop, the USB drive clutched in my hand. My first instinct was to send everything to HR, to the CEO. I typed in my credentials. Account disabled. I tried again. Mocked by the same red text. I called the office helpline straight to a generic voicemail. Panic surged in my chest. Derek hadn't just framed me, he'd wiped me clean. My email, the company portal, years of my work, gone. It was like I'd never existed. How? I muttered, my fists clenching. He must have pulled admin strings immediately, maybe even bribed someone in IT. Numb, I opened LinkedIn. I froze. Derek's smug face stared back at me from a new post. Thrilled to be leading this incredible team to new heights. The comments were a sea of "congratulations" and "well deserved." My blood boiled. That was my role. Those new initiatives he bragged about were my strategies, stolen from my proposals. The firing sting returned, the public shame, the lost trust. No wonder no job offers were coming in, the rumors must be spreading. Alone in the dim light, I stared at the screen. But the USB glowed faintly on the desk. It held the truth. I saved copies everywhere I could think of, plotting. Derek thought he'd buried me. He was wrong. Weeks dragged by. I sent out resume after resume. Nothing. Just a black hole of silence. Then, my phone rang. "Jacob? This is Lucas from Apex Recruiting." My heart leaped. "Look, I heard about your exit, dirty move, man. Your skills shine, regardless. I've got a client who needs some high-level consulting. Interested?" Broke and desperate, I jumped at it. The first task, advise a client Derek had poached years back. My nerves were shot, but I pushed through. I delivered my analysis, sharp, bold, and everything I'd been holding back. The client grinned, leaning back in his chair. This beats Derek's last 5 plans combined." The praise rekindled a fire in me. Word spread. Old contacts started texting, "Heard you're freelancing? We need you." I took every gig, proving my worth over and over. That first client? Now loyal to me. "You're the real deal," he said, terminating his contract with my old firm. A paycheck landed in my account, easing the crushing anxiety about rent. My confidence grew, but the thirst for vengeance simmered. Derek's theft had cost me everything, sleepless nights, my dreams. Each win was a chip at his crown. Then, another client called. A bigger fish. I smiled, plotting my next move. Derek wouldn't see me coming. The industry whispers grew louder, I was back, and I was stealing Derek's shine. I met clients quietly, often in coffee shops far from downtown. I listened as they vented, and I fixed Derek's messes: overpromised deals, shoddy service, and a trail of excuses. He just gave excuses, one client fumed. "I'll deliver," I promised. And I did. trust built fast. One afternoon, a major client called, one I'd always wanted to land. "We're done with Derek's firm," the VP said flatly. "We're with you." My heart raced. This was Derek's cash cow, the account he bragged about constantly. Contracts were signed, sealed with firm handshakes. More clients followed, drawn to the simple honesty I offered. Derek's empire was bleeding, and he was too arrogant to even notice the wound. Late at night, I'd study the USB, plotting the right moment. For now, I built my army, silent but deadly. The pain lingered, all my sacrifices mocked, my loyalty betrayed. But each new win healed a small piece of me. An old coworker texted, "Derek's in the break room bragging about fake profit margins again." I replied, "Not for long. My clients were my soldiers in this quiet war." Derek finally caught wind of my moves. His fury was predictable. He launched a smear campaign, anonymous posts on industry forums calling me a fraud, rehashing the leaked data lie. He started calling my new clients. "He's unstable," he'd tell them. But I was ready. I recorded every lie, saved every email. Derek's attacks backfired. My clients saw the venom. One even forwarded me Derek's nasty message, "Stay away from Jacob. He's poison." I replied to my client, "Thanks for the heads up," and added the email to my growing pile of evidence. Derek's arrogance blinded him. On a recorded call, thanks to a tip from an internal ally, he bragged, "That little intern will never touch my empire." I grinned, saving the audio file. I started sharing small pieces of proof with my most loyal clients, letting them spread the truth organically. Derek's web of lies began to unravel. The pain of the firing, the shame, the stolen dreams fueled me. I turned his attacks into weapons. Each lie he told was another brick in the tomb I was building for him. I just sat back, collected the evidence, and watched his reputation tank. In secret chats and late-night diner booths, I met them. The others. The ex-employees Derek had crushed. He demoted me for questioning his numbers in a meeting, one said, still bitter. He fired me for a typo, said I was incompetent, another added. I listened, their pain mirroring my own. "We can fight back," I said, my voice low. Their eyes, previously dull with defeat, lit with hope. We formed a network, an underground alliance. We shared Derek's tricks, the bullying, the gaslighting, the lies. "He's paranoid," a former assistant whispered. "He keeps a separate ledger." I noted it, building a profile, building an army. "You're our leader, Jacob," one of them said. The weight of that settled on me, but I embraced it. This wasn't just my fight anymore. One insider, still working there, messaged me late. "Derek's skimming funds." I found hidden receipts. My pulse spiked. This was it. The key to ruining him completely. I urged caution. "Timing is everything. Get me copies, but be safe." Our group grew, united by a shared betrayal, lost jobs, broken trust. I had turned my pain into purpose, and now, I'd turned theirs into a weapon. The insider came through. Encrypted files landed in my inbox. Digging into the receipts, I uncovered Derek's real scam. He was faking profits to dazzle the board. Bogus invoices, doctored books, phantom clients. It was sloppy, arrogant, and damning. "He's been at it for years," the insider confirmed. I pored over the files, my blood running cold. I spotted Derek's forged signatures, cross-referencing them with old documents I still had. My heart pounded. This was the endgame. If I exposed this, Derek wasn't just fired, he was finished. The risks loomed. He'd fight back. Lawsuits, retaliation. But the proof was undeniable. I cross-checked public filings against the real numbers. Millions were overstated. Derek's entire empire stood on a foundation of lies, ready to crumble. The firing's pain, those sleepless nights, the lost pride, pushed me forward. Another whistleblower emailed me, "Check the Q3 annual report. The numbers don't add up." I checked. They didn't. The scam was blatant. Vengeance screamed at me to leak everything now, but strategy won. "Hold tight," I told my network. I backed up the files again, securing them. Derek's arrogance blinded him to the noose tightening around his neck. The evidence was ready, a loaded gun. But I weighed my shot. If I leaked it now, Derek could twist it, claim I faked the documents. It was too risky. So, I hunted clients instead. I made quiet calls to the rest of Derek's roster, offering better deals, transparent work, and a simple truth: I know his games. I know how he overcharges you. Clients bit. A big player, one Derek had paraded as his personal win, switched to me. "You're legit, Jacob," the CEO said. My heart soared. The fallout was immediate. An insider told me Derek stormed a board meeting, red-faced. "We're losing key accounts. It's Jacob, he's sabotaging us." The board, already nervous, glared at him. "Handle it." Derek vowed fixes, but I could smell his panic. He didn't know I was already targeting his biggest contract. A few days later, another client jumped, citing a lack of trust in Derek's leadership. Rumors flew that Derek's screams echoed through the executive wing. He was raging, alone. I smirked. The gamble was paying off. Clients were flowing to me. Derek's desperation meant he was getting sloppy. I secured the fraud evidence, ready for the next blow. Derek's desperation turned into a lawsuit. He sued me, claiming I stole his ideas. The irony was suffocating. We ended up in court for a preliminary injunction. But he underestimated me. My evidence was meticulous. I had emails, time-stamped drafts, and server logs proving every single idea was mine. My lawyer tore Derek's claims apart, piece by piece. "This is fabricated, Your Honor," she declared, holding up his proof. The judge agreed, tossing the case before it even went to trial. Derek stormed out of the courtroom, cameras flashing in his enraged face. "No comment," he growled at a reporter, his humiliation palpable. I walked out free, head held high. The news spread like wildfire. My phone exploded. Clients called, saw the ruling. "Glad you beat him. We're yours." Derek's last shred of credibility was bleeding out. I networked harder, turning the pain of his betrayal into pure power. The shame of my firing was fading, replaced by the rush of victory. But I knew Derek. He wouldn't stop. This was just round one. Round two was looming, and I had to be ready for whatever dirty trick he'd pull next. An email pinged. The sender, Mr. Sterling, an old guard exec who had retired years ago. I barely knew him, but he was a legend. "Jacob, I loved your work," the email read. "I've been following what Derek did. Meet me?" We met at an old diner. Sterling got right to it. "Derek's poison," he said, stirring his coffee. "You're better. I've seen your consulting wins. I want to fund your new company." My eyes widened. I couldn't speak. "Why me?" I finally managed. "Because you've got heart," he said. "And you've got skills Derek can only steal." He offered funding, mentorship, a real lifeline. I agreed, my voice shaking slightly. It's time to rise. My mind instantly sparked with plans, an office, a mission, a vision. I knew exactly who to hire. The firing's pain, all those lost years, the deep-seated betrayal, morphed into fuel. Sterling's faith lit a fire under me. This wasn't about survival anymore. This was about conquest. I sketched out a business plan on a napkin right there at the table. We shook hands. It was happening. Ascend Consulting launched, a valiant rising from my ashes. I built my team fast, loyal ex-coworkers who'd hated Derek, and fresh, hungry talent. Our mission is simple, I told them on day one. We are honest, and we deliver. The first quarter crushed all projections. We were already outpacing Derek's entire department. Clients raved. This is real service, one told me, not the excuses we got from your old firm. I mentored my team relentlessly. Learn from my fall, I said. Truth wins. Hard work wins. Never let anyone steal your integrity. Ascend buzzed with an energy I'd never felt before. It was a new home, one we built ourselves. We heard rumors that Derek scoffed, calling us Ascend a joke. He was clueless. The pain of my firing, the mocked sacrifices and sleepless nights, it all became my strength. Every deal we closed, every client we signed, rebuilt my name. We weren't just a company, we were a statement. And we were just getting started. I worked late, fueled by coffee and the sheer joy of building something real. My insider network was still active. The board, I learned, finally grilled Derek. Clients are leaving in droves. Explain yourself. He sweated. He lied. It's Jacob he's poaching. It's a blip. The lies were thin, and the board's doubt grew. Fix it, they ordered. Derek nodded, panic rising in his eyes. He didn't know. He had no idea that I wasn't just poaching his mid-level accounts. I was eyeing his biggest contract, the multi-million-dollar deal that kept his entire department afloat. My strategy was locked. I moved silently, building a proposal that would blow his out of the water. The firing's pain, that memory of being discarded, of my future being stolen, pushed me. My apartment, now Ascend's temporary headquarters, glowed late into the night. Clients trusted me now, not him. The board's doubt was the only opening I needed. I refined the bid with my new team. Derek's lies were crumbling, his empire fragile. The city outside pulsed, unaware of the storm I was brewing. The pain of his betrayal sharpened my focus. That big deal would be mine, and Derek would finally feel the sting of real loss. I underbid Derek's top account. But I didn't just compete on price, I promised total transparency and delivered a strategy he couldn't touch. The meetings were intense, but I sealed it. The client's email to Derek was, I'm told, brutal. We're terminating our contract. We're moving to Ascend Consulting. Jacob is simply better. When Derek read it, he allegedly smashed his coffee mug against the wall. His rage was legendary. Clients kept jumping, like rats from his sinking ship. His grip was slipping, and he knew it. My team cheered quietly in our small office. The victory was sweet. But Derek's fury meant danger. A cornered animal is the most vicious. The client's email was a trophy, proof I was winning. I'd pitched with a passion fueled by the memory of Derek's sloppy, arrogant deals. The pain of my stolen ideas drove me. My team celebrated, but I stayed sharp. Derek's rage leaked through the rumor mill. He was unraveling. I emailed more clients, offering the truth he never could. The city's lights twinkled, mirroring my hope. This wasn't just business. It was war, and I held the advantage. I saved every new contract, ready for his inevitable retaliation. Derek's retaliation wasn't professional, it was personal. He hired private investigators. My insider network warned me. They were digging into my past old college debts, my family. Get dirt, was his only instruction. But I'd learned from the firing. I trusted no one. The investigators were clumsy, and I spotted their tail fast. Derek wanted to play dirty? I'd flip the script. I had my own file, the one my network had helped me build. I anonymously leaked evidence of Derek's real history, buried harassment complaints, toxic emails to junior staff, proof he'd passed over women for promotions. I shared it online. Within hours, #FireDerek was trending. Stories flooded in from other ex-employees, a dam of silence breaking. Derek's carefully crafted reputation tanked overnight. I watched from my apartment, laptop glowing, a grim satisfaction settling over me. The pain of his betrayal, the public shame he'd put me through, was now his. He'd attacked my character, I'd exposed his. The city buzzed, unaware of his fall. Derek's attacks backfired, his name now mud. The war raged, but I was winning. The board whispers grew to a roar. Derek's poison, I heard they were saying. He's a liability. Formal talks of his removal began. But Derek heard about it. He was plotting one last, fast move. He faked insider trading documents, planning to frame me again, but this time for a crime. Got him, he reportedly bragged to an ally. He didn't know I knew. I stayed focused, pouring my energy into Ascend, which was thriving. The revolt against him inside the company was brewing, his end was near. The board's shift was my opening. Derek's trap was desperate, sloppy. I worked late, Ascend buzzing around me. The firing's pain, my name erased, my pride stolen, drove me. My apartment hummed, my plans sharp. I emailed clients, securing their loyalty. The city slept, but my fight roared. Derek's fake documents were a bluff. But a dangerous one. I triple-checked that my own evidence, the real evidence, was ready. The pain of his betrayal fueled my vigilance. The board's revolt was my chance, and Derek's final trap was about to fail spectacularly. Before Derek could spring his new trap, I made my move. I requested an emergency meeting with the board. I walked in, laptop in hand. Before you hear any more of Derek's stories, I said, you need to hear this. I plugged in the USB. Lila's gift. I played the recording. The boardroom's silence was electric, broken only by Derek's own voice. Frame him tight. Make it look real. I want him gone by noon. Faces froze. The CEO, the one who had barked, "You're done," at me, looked pale. The trap Derek had set for me snapped back on him. He was exposed, utterly and completely. Derek, the board chair said, his voice cold. You're done. The pain of my public firing, the stolen future, the humiliation was finally vindicated. My team at Ascend cheered via text as I told them the news. Derek's face, I heard later, paled. His lies were bare. I stood tall. The city outside hummed, unaware of the titan who had just fallen. I saved the recording one last time. The pain of betrayal had turned to triumph. Derek was suspended, pending termination. He seethed. I stayed vigilant. There was no celebration, not yet. I knew him too well. That night, as I left my Ascend office, he cornered me in the parking lot. The shadows hid his face, but I could feel the rage radiating off him. This isn't over, he hissed, taking a step toward me. I didn't flinch. The man who had terrified me, who had ruined my life, now just looked small. The firing's pain, the public shame, the stolen dreams had steeled me. His threat was hollow. His power was gone. It is for you, Derek, I said, my voice calm. I walked past him to my car. My apartment buzzed, Ascend success growing daily. I emailed my team, planning our next quarter. The city slept, but my fight burned on. Derek's desperation was clear, but I was ready for anything. I even made a note of the encounter, saving every threat, just in case. The pain of his betrayal, the lost trust, the erased name fueled my resolve. The board's final move was coming, and I would rise higher. The call came the next morning. The board. Jacob, we need you to return. To stabilize the company. I let the silence hang for a beat, smirking at my reflection in the window. What role did you have in mind? Interim leadership, the chair said. CEO. I weighed it. Was this about revenge, or about legacy? I remembered the firing Derek's smirk, my own shame. Now, the power had shifted completely. I could build something better. I accept, I said, but on my terms. We set them. My apartment glowed with the light of a new plan. My team at Ascend cheered, they knew this was the real victory. I emailed clients, hinting at big, positive moves. The city's skyline sparkled, mirroring my hope. The pain of his betrayal, my lost future, the public disgrace drove me. Derek's fall was complete, but I was focused on building. I saved every board email, ready for the next phase. This wasn't just revenge, it was the start of a new era. And I was going to lead it. The unanimous vote was a formality. Derek was out. I was in. The company held a live-streamed town hall to announce the change. I heard from an old colleague that Derek watched it from his home, screaming at his TV as my face appeared on the screen as the new CEO. His world had collapsed. The news hit like thunder. My victory was complete. I stood on the stage, recalling my firing in that very building. Derek's lies, my exile. Now, I held the crown. My Ascend team was texting me, ecstatic. I would be merging my successful consultancy back into the main company. My apartment, once my prison, buzzed with congratulatory calls. I emailed all staff, promising stability and, more importantly, truth. The city hummed, unaware of my rise from the ashes. The pain of betrayal, the stolen dreams, the public shame, it all turned to triumph. Derek's screams were music. His empire was dust, and I was holding the broom. I saved the announcement link, proof of my win. The war was won. Now, the burden of leadership loomed. I would build it better, stronger, and leave Derek's toxic legacy in ruins. My first day as CEO. As I approached the building, I saw him. Derek. Waiting outside like a ghost. Jacob, he begged, his voice cracking. Give me a chance. A junior role. Anything. I stopped, looking at this broken man. I recalled the firing. The guard's hands on my arms. The whispers. The slam of the door. The rain. All his doing. You taught me something, Derek, I said, my voice cold and even. You taught me that mercy is a weakness your kind exploits. His face fell. He knew. I walked past him, through the glass doors, which reflected my own resolve. His plea was pathetic, his fall complete. The pain, my erased legacy, the lost trust, had steeled me. I walked into the lobby, and my team, the real team, cheered. My apartment, once a war room, was now just home. I emailed the staff, setting a new, honest tone. The city gleamed outside, mirroring my victory. The pain of betrayal fueled my strength. Derek's ruin was justice. I looked forward, ready to lead. At a press conference that week, I laid it all bare. The cameras flashed, but my voice didn't waver. I exposed Derek's lies, the frame-up, the financial fraud. I didn't do it for revenge, I did it for transparency. Then, I pledged a new era of honesty. The firing's pain, the stolen pride, the lost trust drove every word. My team watched from the front row, proud. My apartment, when I got home, was quiet. The victory was sealed. I emailed clients, promising them this new era was real. The city buzzed, the news outlets cheering my rise and condemning Derek. The pain of betrayal, the public shame, the erased name, had turned into power. Derek vanished. He was ruined, his name synonymous with fraud. The public reckoning was complete. I saved the news clips, proof of the win. The war was finally over. My legacy was just beginning. I would build what Derek only pretended to, something honest, strong, and lasting. I rebuilt the company from the ground up. I brought my Ascend team into leadership. We implemented fair policies, promoted based on merit, and fostered a culture of transparency. The staff, so long beaten down by Derek's toxic rule, responded. They were loyal. The company thrived. The firing's pain, Derek's lies, my own fall was a constant reminder. Now, I led with the truth he despised. Our numbers soared. Clients trusted us. My old apartment, which I'd kept, glowed with new plans for expansion, not revenge. I emailed the staff, inspiring them. The city sparkled outside, mirroring our success. The pain of betrayal, my lost future, the public shame, fueled my drive to be better than him. Derek's ruin was a lesson. My rise was a legacy. I saved every positive quarterly report. The company wasn't just business, it was my defiance, built to last. I had won, not by destroying him, but by creating something unbreakable. Revenge isn't destruction, I realized. It's building something better. Years later, I was mentoring a new intern. She was sharp, ambitious, and reminded me of myself. She asked me how I'd gotten here. I told her the story. They will try to tear you down, I said. They will lie. They will steal. But dignity wins. Resilience wins. The firing's pain, those stolen dreams, that erased name, was now just a scar, a lesson. My old Ascend office hummed, now an entire floor of our thriving headquarters. As the intern left, my assistant came in. The merger is ready to sign. I nodded, picking up the pen. A major deal, one that secured my legacy for good. The city gleamed outside my window, reflecting my triumph. The pain of betrayal, the public shame, the lost trust had turned into strength. Derek's ruin was history, my empire was the future. I saved the signed contract, proof of the final win. The cycle of betrayal was broken. My legacy was built on truth. Victory wasn't about revenge. It was about building a future Derek couldn't touch, forever strong. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe for more tales where wisdom prevails.